Hi folks, and welcome back to Fishing with Den. Well, far too cold to go fishing this morning, so I've given it away, and I might just consider going tomorrow. It's probably going to be a nicer day. We've been getting frost, and so I've decided today I want to talk to you about something that I've certainly always had a problem with, and that is carrying far too many hook lengths. Now look, if you buy your hook lengths from the tackle shop already made up, you probably don't want to watch this video. But for those of us that make up our own hooks to nylon, this is probably going to be relevant. Now, I'm certainly guilty of, or certainly in the past anyway, of carrying far too many hooks to nylon with me, just in case I need to do this, just in case I need to do that. We've all been there, haven't we? So let me explain where this all comes from. If I take my standard Kamasan B911 hook in, say, a size 14 like that one, which is probably what I use for quite a lot of my fishing these days. Now, in the past, I'd have probably carried that in hook length sizes from 4 inches, 100 millimeters, 8 inches, 200 millimeters, and 12 inches, 300 millimeters. God, doing this metric's not good when you're my age. Anyway, I might even have carried them in longer lengths. And I'd have a loop on the end of each one, and then I'd carry 10 of each. So at 4 inch, 8 inch and 12 inch hook lengths, I'd be looking at 30 hooks, 10 of each. If I'd gone to the extremes of having sort of 15 and 2 foot hook lengths, I'd have had 50 hook lengths. And that's just in a size 14 of that one pattern. And that's just to one strength of line as well. What if you tied them to different strengths or diameters of line? You could have another 50 just in different diameters. And then if you go to, say, a B711, which is a sort of a slimmed down, skinnier version of the 911, maybe I'd use that for crucians, F1s, maybe when it's getting a bit colder in the winter, that kind of thing. And again, you're looking at another 50 or 100 there. And of course, that doesn't take into account when you're doing things like method feeder fishing. These are obviously my Preston KKH B hooks. That's a size 14 again, which I use my method feeders. Now, those ones I probably used to only use at sort of 4 inches to go on the method feeder. But then what if you're on a cage feeder or an inline feeder where you may want a longer hook length? So again, we've got 10 at the 4 inch, 10 at the and so it goes on. Easily now, we're looking at sort of 300, 400 hooks. And if you're the likes of Jamie Hughes and Andy May, people like that, I think I remember them saying something like they had something like 600 hooks made up. And that's all very well because they fish matches 3, 4, 5 times a week. And back in the day when I used to fish matches 3 times a week, I used to carry a similar amount. But even then, I used to find that after a year or so, I'd think, I haven't used that particular style of hook or with that strength of line on it. And I'd probably throw them away thinking, well, is the nylon still okay? And it probably was, but because I was a bit pernickety back in then, I'd retie them. And to be honest, especially these days I've got older and the arthritic thumb, trying to tie hooks I find to be a real chore. So really what I've done these days is I've decided to slow down on tying hundreds and hundreds of hooks. I don't do so much match fishing anymore, and so really I don't need to carry all that many hooks. So how do you slim it down from that? And the answer is actually quite simple. If we take this one, this is my KKHB hook, which is the one I use for feeders. All I do now is I tie them to a 2 feet length of line, which is 60 centimeters. I'm getting there, guys. Right, so if I want to now have a 4 inch hook length or 100 millimeters, all I do is chop off the relevant amount and tie the loop, and away we go. And the same applies for any other length, 8 inches, 12 inches, whatever you like. I tend to find that 2 feet tends to sort out most of my needs, but sometimes if you go on a river, you might want a great big long length, say 3 feet or more, so you can make them out to that. And you might say, well, that's a waste of money because you're going to waste all that line. And I suppose to some extent that's true, But then how much does a spool of line cost you? £5, £6, £7? and you can make up an awful lot of hooks with that. And not only that, as I say, I used to end up throwing some of mine away and remaking them every year. So I don't think there's that much waste. And the next thing you'll be saying is, well, how do I store something of this length for future use? Because most people these days have those boxes which are sort of 15 centimeters or 300 centimeters long or whatever. And so you can get smaller hook lengths in there because they're on a loop usually. But if you're not tying a loop on the end of it, like I don't until I need to, how on earth do you store them? And the answer is, you could buy those spools, which you can have them rolled on, but really, I don't bother with that. I just go back to this old tried and tested method. If any of you are sort of like me, you'll remember these sorts of things back in the day. These are hook packets, and inside there you've got different envelopes, and you put your hooks in there. And all you do is take the hook length itself, mind your fingers, put it on, go round a few times like that, and then just twist it through. Let's do that 3 times. And then you've got everything looped up, and you put that into one of these little envelopes here. Now I've got these for various different sizes and shapes and hooks, and so on and so forth. So I do carry a few of those around, but I certainly don't carry anything like 600 hooks around with me anymore. And that's my answer to carrying far too many hooks these days. Make up your own wallets. Now, in actual fact, I think it was about 3 years ago now, I did a video on how to make these little things. And this started life as like one of those plastic school folders with the hinge there, and then the A4 size of front on here. And we just cut down. But I've done a video on it anyway, and I'll put a link up above now for you to have a look at. So if you want to do it my way, and you want to store your hooks my way, feel free. If you want to continue to buy them from the shops, that's also fine by me. But anyway, a little bit of food for thought. Hopefully it's given you that, and I hope you've enjoyed it as well. And as always, if you did enjoy it, click the like button. And of course, again, you can always subscribe if you want to. But until the next time, bye for now.